So a guy is, say he's dating a woman and she wants to get more serious and he wants to keep it casual. Are there any ways of doing that, of keeping it casual without hurting the girl?
I get this question a lot too. And I usually say it's selfish to hold on. It's not fair. If you think that there is a chance that you are eventually going to want to be more serious with this woman, then hold on and stick it out and see where it goes. But if you've already decided in your head, you're like, no, I'm just going to be sleeping with this woman, or this is not going anywhere, and she's starting to fall more for you, you have to cut it off. It's selfish behavior to keep the woman around, because usually when there's that big of a spread in where people are at, it makes a woman do things like horrible things. It makes her go crazy in her own head. It makes her feel bad about herself. It ruins her for future relationships. It makes her have baggage. It really ruins her for other men down the line, and it ruins the experience for men because she can become untrusting. It's just, it's an awful, awful experience for a woman inside of a woman's head to have those different levels of feelings. And, you know, as a man, I'm sure you've experienced as well, or you've liked somebody more than they've liked you. But again, selfish behavior, if you hold on. If you know for sure that it's not for you, then let her go. Because if you are confident, you know that there's many other women that are around the corner for you.
Right. All right, let's talk about, getting physical, touching, kissing, having sex and stuff like that. So I always recommend that a guy is comfortable touching a woman right at the very beginning, when he first meets her. Do you have any feedback on that? How do women like to be touched, early on and then even as it progresses into dating?
It depends, but I usually like to be touched by someone who's comfortable touching.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like exactly what you just said. I think that was really good advice. It doesn't mean that a man has to be overly touchy in the very beginning, but as long as you're comfort with your touch and you're not questioning it, I'm not going to question it. Do you know what I mean? Again, women feed off of emotions and energy, and they'll be comfortable with whatever you're comfortable with. And if they're not, they'll let you know right away. And you can help them become comfortable with being touched. Like I have this story that I spoke with another sex expert a couple of weeks ago. And I say that I answer the question a lot to my guys, do women want sex as much as men? Because a lot of men think that women don't want sex. And my answer is, of course we do. Right. We just want to be able to choose when we can be sexual. And so when I was younger, and I told you before at the very beginning of this, I used to be a huge prude. I would only kiss people, mainly because I had a lot of guy friends, and I would hear how they would talk about girls, and I would be like, I don't want to be that slut that you're talking about, so I'm just going to kiss everybody and make them earn it. And, that's a hard thing for a guy to push past. And a hard thing for a girl, too, to feel that she always has to put up this wall to protect herself. And as you go away, as you grow up, that wall hopefully crumbles down. But I was with this guy who I met when I was backpacking, and I liked him instantly. I saw him on the dance floor. He was like an obvious leader in his group, completely comfortable with himself, having fun with his friends. We started talking. We went back to the hostel that I was staying at, and he was staying at too. We started making out, and he said to me, he's like, anything that you are uncomfortable with, he goes, slap my hand and I'll stop. And I did not slap his hand once, and I was very comfortable with everything that I did because I got to make the choice to do it. And that was a really liberating feeling for me. I'd never had that option before, or felt that I had that option. Not that men were forcing things on me, but they never gave me the option to be a part of what was happening. Even though we were both making out with each other, for some reason it always felt forced or expected of me. And so I really liked that I was empowered to be sexual, and I got to make the decision what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do. And just by him saying that to me, it made me feel safe, it made me feel secure, it made me feel comfortable, and it made me feel more sexual than I'd ever felt in my life, which was
that's really
an amazing
advice.
Experience.
That's great.
Yeah, so that's very, very important for men to do. And I read an article yesterday in Women's Health that was talking about a study that was done for sexual experiences for men, women, lesbians, and gay men. And so they were showing them all these visuals of different people having sex, like man on woman, apes, and they found that heterosexual men liked a man and a woman being sexual, woman on woman, and they didn't like the apes at all. But they basically liked whatever their sexual preference was. But They found that for women, they were turned on pretty much equally from everything that they saw, because they were reading into the emotions of sexuality, and that's what turned them on, rather than the actual physical activity that was presented in front of them. It was like, again, the emotion or the feeling that was being expressed through each of those videos, which I found really interesting. And then they were talking about how for women, it's really hard for them to get into a sexual space because we are multi-focused and we can concentrate on so many things at once, that they found that a lot of women, during sex with a regular partner, they tend to think about other things, not about other men, but they'll think about like what they're going to cook for dinner tomorrow. They're very future focused. So your head can get locked into a lot of things as a woman, and it can take you off to many different places, especially when you're being sexual. Men, single focused, on target, they're having sex, they're concentrating on their orgasm. Fantastic. And it's wonderful. I'm very jealous of that behavior, because most of the time I'm not able to do that. But as a man, if you can help your partner stay on track and stay focused, like for me, I like when my fiance talks to me. I didn't in the beginning, but I love when he talks to me, because that gets me to be more in the moment, more involved, and it turns me on completely, because then I'm aware of what I'm doing. I'm not able to think too much, and I'm really a part of the sexual experience that we're having, which, increases the level of my orgasm. It increases the level of intimacy that we're having with each other, and it makes it more enjoyable overall.